Hey guys, what is happening? We are back with another not your typical manager mode episode, but unfortunately we have to start with some bad news, and that is that one of my games has gone missing in action. But the positive sign is that it was a terrible game. It was a 0-0 draw against Stevenage, and Shawumney didn't do anything despite coming back against his old club. Now on to the business at hand. First we're going to transfer dealings once again. I saw that Voto wasn't too happy at Oldham. Maybe Welsh Dragon DSG needs to step up his game and make his players happy. Zing! But in all seriousness, he is a player that Welsh Dragon DSG did highlight as a good centre back, and of course we are looking for a solid centre back pairing. So I decided to try and snap him up, especially with the Win saga ongoing, and as you can see here, we don't end up getting Win. He's looking for more money of course, but we can't afford it. So we go for Voto instead. I'm pretty happy with the deal that we offered, and it turns out that he was happy too. He was happy to sign the contract, and it looks like he could become an integral part of the team. So with the ink still drying on the paperwork, we were going into our first game against Crewe, and it was time for him to make his debut. It's a big league game for us really. We haven't really been performing in the league so far, and we really need to turn our form around. As it turns out, he was straight into the action. First attack of the game, and he managed to put in a super block. It didn't take us long to put together our own attack, and Hughes once again acting as the talisman, bringing the club forward and smashing home a stunning finish. Crewe weren't going to give up without a fight though. They put together an attack, a little bit of jinking, turning, confusing my defence, and managed to find a great through ball. Lucky to see it come back off the post, and the keeper flicks it away. Little has been settling into his new centre attacking midfield role pretty well. He decided to turn creator here, tried to jink inside, cross the ball, but the defenders got in the way. He took it upon himself, smashed home the rebound, great finish into the bottom right hand corner. So it looked like we were cruising, but Voto on his debut with an awful mistake, the ball gets flicked across and Osman, top right hand corner, what a finish. Goal of the game for definite. There weren't really that many chances outside of the goals, it has to be said. About halfway through the second half then we get the ball in the box, Bishop gets upended by the defender, and we have no complaints about the penalty. We leave it to the fan favourite to step up, and he coolly slots it as well. And 3-1 is how it finished. Not a lot of highlights, it has to be said, but some decent goals to go in there. Most importantly, we got our 3 points. But we weren't given a chance to enjoy our victory at all by the media. Straight away coming out asking if Pearce's position is in jeopardy, trying to stir a little bit of drama inside in the dressing room. I was straight onto the phone, onto the editors, but they're looking for their headlines, they're looking for their controversy, just trying to sell a few papers. Into the next cup game against Huddersfield, and it probably looked like the media had some impact on my decision. I decided to go for an Voto Pearce centre-back pairing to see how it would work out, see if they could work side by side, and put an end to selection issues. The game started really oddly, as you can guess from these highlights. No one could find the target, no one seemed to really know where the goals were. It really looked like a day where the keepers weren't going to be tested. And then Huddersfield scored. Sadly, Pearce will have to take responsibility for this one. Absolutely out-jumped at the corner, at the front post. That should have been his. He should have made it his own. To make things worse, we were having a crisis at the other end. Zoko seems to be completely out of form, seems to have no confidence, despite being a player that I highlighted at the beginning of this series as a hopeful prospect. We kept pushing, but it seems like there was no decisiveness, there was no willingness to take the shot when it was on. And occasionally we were unlucky with rebounds. Huddersfield could have been dealt a double psychological blow on the stroke of half-time because A, they could have conceded at half-time, and B, their keeper looked absolutely insane. Calamity James himself. Sadly, we couldn't capitalise, and in the second half Huddersfield struck again, tearing through the centre of my defence, that partnership just not working out, and Robinson slots it home for 2-0. To be honest, we were a mess all over the park. We couldn't defend, we weren't marking properly, we weren't clearing the ball, which is a disaster, and we couldn't attack either. The passes just weren't being strung together, players were being indecisive, making wrong runs, and just not taking the chances when they were there. And as you can see here, the defence just parted like the Red Sea. There was no communication in defence, and we were lucky not to be 3-0 down. And then we did go 3-0 down. Again, an absolute shambles at the back, no one there for the rebound, and Tenna tucks it home. And I'll leave you with this beauty to show you how bad the day was. 3-0 in the end, and lucky to be nil. So an absolute disaster, but onwards and upwards. And it's time for transfer deadline day, and I owe you an apology. This is something that I did want to stream, I wanted you to get on board with, help me out a little bit as well. But if you've followed me for a while, you'll know that I haven't streamed an awful lot recently, and it's something I really need to step up my game on. I do want to do FIFA as well as other games, but anyway, that's another story for another day. The transfer deadline day for me was a little underwhelming because we don't have a lot of money in the pocket. We tried to approach a few signings as loans and things like that. We eventually managed to get Diop, and I think I overpaid for his wages in hindsight. We didn't have that much of a wage budget to begin with, and he's an unproven talent really. Little was being approached as well, a good offer, but for us he's pretty much invaluable at the moment. He's a centre attacking midfield, well, we've put him there at least. He seems to have slotted into the system well, and replacing him probably would have meant another panic buy. So while it was an underwhelming transfer deadline day for me, in total 24 million was spent on the final day, which is fairly impressive. So that's where we're going to end today's episode. Tune in next week as well when we're going to find out how the new signings do, how our new system works out, and who will seal their place in the starting 11. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you very much, guys. Keep an eye out for stream announcements, other videos of course, and I'll catch you very soon with some more content.